I'm Sori.
You are watching Vin and Sori.
Main stage show.
I said Vin and Sori. It's Vin and Sori, by the way. Yesterday we had technical difficulties. We released everything late. Same situation again.
Stay, the same curse is upon us.
Same situation again. But we will release 2 today. We're going to release the main stage show and the underground show. So for the main stage show, right now, we are about to watch the Unforgiven 2. We did the first one, which was a classic, which Sori obviously still doesn't know metal, so she's still working on it. We got to give her time. And then we're going to be watching that. Now watch, we have 2 trilogies already. I bet you didn't know that. Because a lot of you are new. So we've got the Maynard's Mom trilogy, which is actually the Maynard's Mom Quartet.
For now. Yeah.
Because there's some debate about whether or not there are other songs about Maynard's Mom. And then there is the Rev trilogy. Shout out to the big homie. And I think we're just going to create a playlist called Devil Music.
Really?
Because we keep getting these songs that have, oh, Satan, I have a crush on thee. Oh, Beelzebub, the way that your tail sways in the wind. Yeah, there you go. If you are a worshiper of Beelzebub or Azazel, I'm sorry to offend you. All right. So now we're going to do the Unforgiven 2. Before that, though, I want to give a big shout out to the big homie, Hectic Reacts. That guy shouted us out on Twitter.
This guy's been ridiculous.
Shouted us out on YouTube.
Yeah, he does reaction videos as well.
Yeah,
but he shouted us. He's
reached down from Mount Olympus to drag us out of the miry clay of YouTube badness or whatever.
Yeah, his subscribers have been subscribing to us all day because he shouted us out everywhere.
Ridiculous. So, go to his channel.
Yeah, check him out.
I think once a week, try to hold us accountable. We need to feature, and it doesn't have to be a reaction channel, but like if you could like show us channels that are smaller than us, which is going to be very difficult. I think there's like 4 YouTube channels that are smaller than us, so we will shout them out every single week.
Well, that's 4 weeks worth.
Yeah, we'll shout them out every single week because when somebody does something like that, you gotta, they don't want you to waste time thanking them. They want you to pay it forward.
Right.
So I don't know the big homie, but I'm sure that that's what he'd tell us to do. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna pay it forward. Now. We're going to listen to Unforgiven 2. Now, your initial criticism of Unforgiven was that it was too, too babyish or too calm. Right? I
wanted it to be a little angrier. I didn't think the music matched the lyrics because I thought with what he was talking about, he should be kind of angry. But then you informed me that he's...
Maybe this one's going to be angry. Maybe now he's going to be like, you know what? I am angry at society.
I'll be like, man, he needs to chill.
Yeah, you're pretty hard to please. All right, well, let's go. Metallica Unforgiven 2. Let's do it. That's exactly.
There's that truck or boat, depending on who you are.
It's going to get heavy. Feel like it's gonna get heavy. It's not heavy.
Well, maybe it's coming. There's some twang in there.
Lay beside me. Tell me what they've done and speak the words out. To make my demons run. The door is locked now, but it's open if you're true. If you can understand me, then I can understand you. Beside me, under wicked sky, through black of day, she'll never love again. She lay beside me, but she'll be there when I'm gone, like hot scouting darker steel. Yeah, she'll be there when I'm gone. Yeah, she'll be there when I'm gone. Then she'll be there. What I feel, what I've known. Turn the pages, turn the stone. Behind the door, should I open it for you? Yeah, what I feel.
I like that part.
What I've known, sick and tired, I stand alone. Could you be there? 'Cause I'm the one who waits for you. Or are you unforgiven too?
Sounds like a country song.
It does.
What the hell is this?
I'm like, what?
No.
Tell me what I've done. The door is closed, so are your eyes. But now I see the sun. Now I see the sun. Yes, now I see it. What I felt, what I've known. Turn the pages, turn the stone. Behind the door, should I open it for you? Yeah, what I felt, what I've known. So sick and tired, I stand alone. Could you be there? 'Cause I'm the one who waits, the one who waits for you. Oh, what I felt, what I've known. Turn the pages, turn the stone. Behind the door, should I open it for you? Oh, what I feel, oh, what I know. I take this key and I bury it in you, because you're unforgiven too. Never been, 'cause you're unforgiven too.
All right. Well, that was country. I'm sorry, Metallica.
That it was weird that it sounded so much like country.
That was a country song by a band that used to play metal, apparently.
Okay, I don't like mixing the two. Keep it metal or keep it country.
I thought you liked country.
Well, I mean, I came up on some country, but not came up. My parents didn't. It was like when I was more like a teenager. I liked
Wasn't
it.
country music bad too?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to listen to it. I mean, I was rebelling when I was listening to some of that country.
You weren't even allowed to listen.
No.
Well, look, you started listening to country, and now all of a sudden you're listening to Behemoth.
See, that's how.
Keep your kids away from country if you want them to love God. Okay.
Okay. Well, the first one was about society.
Right. So, like, if I'm using my imagination, like, the first song was about society. Society was Unforgiven.
Yep.
Because society, like, tried to push him into this mold, and he didn't want to live in it, and so he's dubbing society Unforgiven.
Yep.
And then there's a line that I said was like a precautionary tale because he
grew old and got bitter or something.
Right. The old man there with me. Right. So yeah. I think he's kind of like rewind, and like he takes the off ramp and says, okay, I got to figure out a way to function in the world.
Yeah.
Without dying an old bitter man, because nobody wants to do that. So he finds a girl, right?
Yeah.
Lay beside me, tell me what they've done. So what do you make of that?
Well, I think that we're talking about, maybe it's like what society or, you know, if they were a part of some type of subculture or whatever, where, I don't know, somehow there was like a group and people maybe pushed her out of it or something. There's people that have been against her, and he's saying like, lay beside me and tell me what they've done, like how they've treated you, what went on.
Yeah, like it seems to me like that this is sort of this is one of the motifs or one of the themes in human experience or in art that they're touching on, which is the idea of the outcasts who find each other.
Yeah.
Right? The outcasts who find each other. So you got, you know, Romeo and Juliet weren't really outcasts, but they couldn't kind of fit into the mold.
Well, they were outcasts because their family didn't want them to do something, and then they did it. So their family kind of was, right?
And it kind of pushed them closer together.
Right.
Of course, Bonnie and Clyde would be the perennial example. They were outcasts. They did terrible things, but for some reason, the Bonnie and Clyde did things that normal people would never do.
Right.
But
it's romanticized.
It's romanticized.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, for some reason, it's like this.
What ended up happening to them?
They ended up getting shot like millions of times by the police.
Okay, I was pretty sure that's what happened, but
yeah,
these things don't end well. And judging by the way this song went, it didn't end well either.
Well, like, and obviously this is an archetypical story. I'm gonna get my Jordan Peterson on. This is an archetypical story because you have Adam and Eve in the garden, right?
Yeah. And
so at the end of chapter 2, it says the man and the woman were naked, but they were not ashamed.
Right.
Which is metaphorical for there was literally nothing in between them. Like the fact that there were no clothes in between them is metaphorical for they literally were like completely and totally 100% open with each other, and they could completely understand each other. Mm-hmm. And there was no sort of guarded anything emotionally, spiritually, physically, anything, right? And so that's the end of chapter 2. So you're like, yay! And then what the hell happened? Because there's no relationship like that. And then in chapter 3, you see what happened. They fell, they eat the apple or the grape or the fig, whatever you want to say, depending on which, ancient areas and documents you look at. And now the first thing they do is what?
They say, we need to get some clothes
on. We need to get clothes. So boom, now there's like this separation, right? And you would figure that the next thing would be like, you screwed everything up. No, you screwed everything up. They don't do that. They run off together in the trees to hide from God, right, who's like they assume is going to outcast them from his society, which he doesn't, but that's a different story. So like that's the archetypical story of like the two people who basically find each other in a new way as outcasts.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And then, that story gets replayed over and over again and romanticized because all of us have felt that in one way or another. So here we go. So now the kid he's grown up and he finds a girl and lay beside me and I'm going to understand you and you're going to understand me and it's going to be great.
So do you think that, speak the words I want to hear to make my demons run, do you think he's talking about like, like when you do something and you're like, if you're like outcasted from society and then you meet somebody else who's in the same situation and then they tell you what they did and you're like, oh no, that's not really that bad, blah, blah, blah. Then it kind of like makes it so that way all the stuff that you thought about yourself, you're like, well, that can't be that bad because they're in the same situation like that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the main reasons that subcultures get formed in the first place, right? Is that you get a group of people who are constantly told this particular thing is wrong, and then they all get together and they go, "Oh no, it's not that wrong because this guy says." So these two like had their own little mini kind of subculture where they're affirming to each other that they're good and the society sucks. It's society. It's not you. It's society.
Yep.
And so that was the basis of their relationship.
So he says the door is locked now, but it's open if you're true. If you can understand the me, then I can understand the you. So I'm guessing the locked door is to himself or maybe to the place where he dwells.
I think the locked door is his heart. He's going to open his heart to her if she's true, if she's trustworthy, if she's not going to like destroy it. Because, that's relationships are a dangerous thing, man. Mm-hmm. Like completely opening yourself up to a person and you don't know what they're gonna do. I mean,
Especially if
you know what I'm gonna do. But aside from me, there's no other relationship on the planet where, there's no guarantees. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Especially if you've been in relationships before that have, you I think kind of as people progress, like when you're young, you're like hopeful and you're like, yeah, like this is going to work. Everything's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden they sin against you, you sin against them. And it kind of like creates this separation, but then it makes you look with distrust on the next person that comes into your life because you're like, well, that person,
Right.
even though you were more naive maybe at that point,
right.
and now you've, but as you've matured or as you see more clearly, you're also more cynical. So, and it's hard not to allow that, like, cynicism, if that's even a word, or the pain from the past to not dictate your future and how things are going to go, because you can start looking at everybody like they're all going to do the same terrible things that have happened in your past. But to give each person a fresh chance. But it sounds like that's what he's doing here. Like, as long as you're true, like, I'm going to open up to you.
Yeah, but how do you, what is especially when people end up in situations like that, they put people through these little tests.
Yeah.
To determine their veracity or their truth. You know what I'm saying? And so,
You've
like,
been through so many tests. I'm sorry.
I was going to keep it anonymous. But they put people through these little tests and go, let's see if
What's he doing in this situation?
What's he going to do in this situation? And that's how you, so when it says, if you're true, that's a loaded line, man. That's a loaded line. We could spend an entire podcast just on that line about the games
that
people play in order to make sure that they should be able to take the risk for the relationship. Instead of just saying, hey, past is the past, they are who they are, this guy, this girl is who they are, let's just, boom, jump in, right? Of course, there's probably a song for that too. So
if you know one, post it and say that's a
so far so good. Basically, they're there. Everything's good. The chorus
it's about understanding each other.
The chorus to me was lazy because what I've known, we already talked about that in part one. There's no real growth of the song.
Well, I liked "Lay Beside Me Under Wicked Sky, Through Black of Day, Dark of Night, We Share This Paralyze." I thought that was beautifully written because they're laying beside each other, but then he's saying under a wicked sky. How can a sky be wicked? But I think that what he means is that, like, the sky, like, goes over everything, and I think that he's meaning that underneath the wicked sky, like, there's something that kind of stretches over the both of them, and that's that whole being pushed out of the whatever it is that their demons are coming from. So that through black of day and dark of night we share this paralyze. Like, it's dark. Both of it's been dark during the day. It's been dark during the night for both of them together, but they're sharing it. And so even though they're both paralyzed, they're sharing it together. So it's not as bad. If I was paralyzed and I was beside you who was also paralyzed, we could at least talk to each other.
Well, lay beside me. You have no choice. You're paralyzed.
You're not going anywhere. Okay.
But what's interesting is if the person who's laying beside you is paralyzed, is it really love? In other words, lay beside me sounds very romantic.
Yeah.
But then we find out that they're paralyzed.
Freaking paralyzed. You can't leave.
So there is no, and somebody's like, oh, you're reading that too literally. Well, hold on. Like,
I don't know.
If that's the basis of your relationship, we got kicked out of society, we found each other, and that you don't feel there's any way back into society, you're in a sense in paralysis.
I totally agree.
So
totally agree.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, they say like, oh, I wouldn't marry you if we were on a desert island, and we were like, oh, that's a freaking lie. You would marry the person for sure. Well, maybe I know a couple people that you wouldn't. You'd jump in the water and swim to the bottom. Okay.
I'm sure there's a merman down there.
Hey.
I just meant if you weren't around.
Then I'd show up on a boat to save you, and there you are with your merman.
This is awkward.
Yeah, I'd still forgive you, though. I'd write a song about it, and then we'd review it. And then people would finally take my side. They'd probably take your side.
They'd say, well, she wasn't going to marry
Yeah, she wasn't going to marry her. Okay. So like, okay, they're paralyzed. Like, how many people, like, mistake we're just in the same circumstance together. That's unavoidable with actually loving the person.
I bet that happens a lot.
Yeah. And I think the song, it's played out in the song because the song takes a very dark turn. Didn't you see it? Did you see it where it got dark?
Yeah, I felt a little bit sick when it said that. Come lay beside me, this won't hurt, I swear.
There it is. There it is.
What is happening here?
Took a decidedly wicked turn. Yikes. She loves me not, she loves me still, but she'll never love again. So the girl took the chance with him, but he's going to do something that's going to make her say, I don't love you. But he knows inside she really does love him.
I mean, I might be reading too much into this, but when a girl does, he loves me not, she picks all the petals off of a flower. So I'm like, is he destroying her in some way? So like all the petals are coming off.
I think he's emotionally murdering her here, is what I think. Because it says, and there's undertones to it, right? Because he says, dead sure she'll be there, and then in the last verse or stanza or whatnot, he says he's burying the key with her, or in her, or whatever.
What does he say?
But he says, it's all the way at the door is locked and the key's buried in your heart, or something like that. Do you see it?
Do you see it? I remember hearing it. It was kind of, I take this key, never free, and bury it, never me in you.
Yeah, there you go. So he buries it in her, and on the one hand, it sounds very, very romantic, but there are some undertones.
Well,
or
not when he's saying
death.
the other dark stuff.
Well, yeah, you go up there. He says, what does he say? He says, this won't hurt, I swear. And then he says, she loves me not, and then she'll never love again. So obviously he did something to her that tore her heart out and killed a part of her emotionally, right? And then, she's never going to love again in the same way.
I don't like the part where he says, I can't find it now, but he's saying, his heart, where the darkness of his heart, how it keeps, getting scarred. But then he says that, it's getting darker still, but then it says that he can see the sun or something like that.
Well, after she closes her eyes, now he can see the sun. See?
Right there.
The door is closed, so are your eyes. So he closed himself off to her, and he's basically done with her. And then I think I see the sun as basically, I'm just jumping to another relationship or another thing that's going to make me feel better, whatever. But he's done with her. That's what I think happened in the song. Because at the end it says, lay beside me, tell me what I have done. Right?
Yeah.
So it's Unforgiven 1 was society's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Everybody sucks except for me, and I'm going to die an old bitter man. And then part 2 is, hey, we found each other. Society's terrible. Let's commiserate. But then as the song progresses, it's, hey, I'm not going to hurt you, I promise. And then it's, hey, I'm going to lay beside you. And now it's, he has done something that he needs forgiveness for from her. I think that that's what's going on in the song. And I think it progressively got worse.
Yeah,
and he feels bad, and he won't. And the Unforgiven now ultimately is himself. He can't forgive himself for what he did.
Oh, really? I wondered if the ending. Okay, so I take this key and bury it in you because you're unforgiven too. Then he says, never free, never me, because you're unforgiven too. Before, he kept asking, if she was, are you unforgiven too? Are you unforgiven too? And now he's saying, you are unforgiven too. Do you think that's because now she's completely ostracized because now she doesn't even have him? Or do you think that he's saying, how, people kind of prey on people that don't have somebody to take care of them?
Yeah.
So he realizes that she's unforgiven too, so he can treat her this way because you are unforgiven too. So now he's gonna bury it, blah blah blah. He's hurting her and leaving her because she's unforgiven too. So it's nobody's gonna really. Well,
I think he's saying never free, never me. So the reason he's not free and the reason he's not completely himself is because she is unforgiven too.
Okay.
And because is a very important. It's a causative term, but I the reason I think that is because, on the one hand, for example, let's say that both of us were bank robbers, right? Mm-hmm. And we found each other on the outskirts of society.
Yeah.
Right? Would you ever trust me with with $1 million? Let's say that we robbed $1 million. Let's say we come up with a scheme for $1 million. Would you ever trust me with that $1 million?
You?
Yeah.
Yes, but that's you. You mean if you weren't you?
If you didn't know me and I didn't know you and we both found each other on the outskirts of society, we were both bank robbers and we came up with this plan to steal $1 million. Like, would you trust me?
I see where you're going with it, but you're using yourself, and so...
You would trust me with the money.
Yeah, it's you.
You're a damn fool. I'll take all the money for myself.
You would not.
Yo, Paul! But you understand what I'm saying? It's like,
I do. If it wasn't you, no, I wouldn't trust you with the money. Are you kidding me?
Even
You're a bank robber too.
Yeah, even though you're working together, you're like, I don't know if I can trust you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's a crazy part. Because he found her on the outskirts of society, he doesn't trust her.
Jeez.
So he could never really, and that's one of the reasons why he did whatever he did to destroy the relationship, was because he didn't really fully trust her and he let her come way too close to him. That's why he says, you have the key to my heart or whatever.
Yeah, I remember you saying one time that, like, people that are like that, and then when they let people in, all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't want the person in here. So then they start pushing them out and doing everything they can to kind of...
Right, the minute you get the key, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think he can never really, really be himself because he doesn't really trust her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you get put in a situation where you can't trust anybody because, like, if the person's on the outskirts of society, you're like, well, why are you out?
Yeah.
What did you do? Right? But then if they're in society, you're like, you're never going to accept me because you're still in with those people.
Right.
So if your relationship is based on this external factor about how society treated you, if, like, the core, the grounding of your relationship is being angry at a group of people who, you're doomed.
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out, for us, it's our faith that keeps us together. But you've got to figure out what the grounding principle is in your relationship. And if it's something as petty as the society pushed us out, I don't think it's going to last because you're going to end up cannibalizing. You're going to end up cannibalizing each other, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. As far as the music, I thought. What do you rate this song?
5, 6, 5.
5, 6, 5.
Well, I'm debating.
You're debating.
Yeah, I kind of liked the content of it a little bit, but at the same time, I did not like how they put country in there with it. That was bizarre to me.
Well, this was Country-alica.
Yeah, country. I'm not a fan of Country-alica.
I just saw, Hetfield with his gallon hat on and
at the beginning of the song, that's what I saw. I saw my country hat that I used to wear.
Gallon hat, and I saw Hammett, doing the rodeo thing, getting a steer and all this, like, with his spurs. Like, no disrespect to country, but if it was a Tim McGraw, did I get that? Did I get that right? Is that a country guy, Tim McGraw?
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was a Tim McGraw song, I'd be like, well, great.
I don't really remember. It's been a long time.
I'm pretty sure. I know things. If it was Tim McGraw, I'd be like, oh, man, this is great. Good country. This is Metallica. Shortest Straw. 1. Disposable Heroes. What the hell is this? You know what? You know what I give it? What's the name of the song?
Unforgiven 2.
2.
Are you serious? 2?
Unforgiven 2. And I'm not going to forgive James Hetfield for this monstrosity. This was a disaster. It was a shameful display of countryness, acting as if that they were metal.
I don't believe that people... If you're into metal, I don't see how people would like this song.
This was a terrible song. It was a disgrace.
How did this...
It was a disgraceful
How did this fare with the public? Did people like this song, or are you not sure?
I don't know.
I don't. You know what?
I really like after the Black Album. I really didn't follow much of Metallica after that.
When I was reading the comments today,
Country-alica.
one of our villagers. Well, I don't know if he's a villager yet, but anyway, he said that the second one was terrible. And when I read that, I was like, oh, terrible. And now I'm like, okay, I see where he's coming from.
It's a 2.
That's a 2. Wow. I wouldn't give it a 2.
It's shameful. It's a shameful song.
Shame?
Shame.
Very shameful.
No, this is a terrible song. This is a terrible song. Terrible song. They're going to have to... They're going to... Look. Okay, so for example, Fade to Black is not like a like there is a whole tradition of like soft songs in the metal world. Like for example, Unforgiven 1 was a soft song.
Right.
So don't all you purists come to me and be like, "Oh, Vin, you didn't like the the song because it's not chuggy. That's not the problem. It's not because it's not chuggy, okay? It's because it's country.
Yeah, that was just okay.
It's over. I don't even want to talk about the song.
You know what?
anymore.
I think I'm gonna have to give it a 4.5 because
4.5.
you're saying
Let's
that.
go. Yep.
And I'm with you. I don't like that it sounded so
It's a terrible song.
country.
Terrible song.
Some twang in there.
Terrible song. Yeah, it had the twang.
I mean, I did not feel like headbanging at all.
I
or
thought
anything like
I
that.
was in a saloon.
Yeah. Bring me some whiskey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I was waiting for the whiskey to show up. I thought I was in a saloon. Hetfield Saloon. All right. Well, we're signing off from Hetfield Saloon in Nashville, Tennessee.
No, you should have called it Country Alica.
Country Alica. Yeah, we were just listening to Country Alica from Hetfield Saloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good day.
Good day.
Good day. No, you can't. No, that's for rock and roll.
No, I was doing I Love You for our villagers.
Okay, we love the villagers, but this song is banned in the village.
So I'll do this.
Okay, if we make a saloon in the village, then they could play this.
Yeah.
Hetfield Saloon. Good day.